Now, growing up in America, I was amazed at how often you would hear reports of murder on the television. Actually, this happens so frequently that we've come to accept it as normal. After having lived in Europe for several years, I've noticed that you almost never hear about people being murdered. Warsaw seems to be a very, very safe place. But that makes me curious. Is that how it seems, or is the reality different? So on today's episode of Kult America, we are exploring the horrific murders in Warsaw. Now, the district of Mokotów is insanely beautiful. It's a great place to live. But that wasn't the case for Ludwik Jakštas. He was a famous painter who lived with his family, and one evening his drunken son slayed him with a kitchen knife. Now, he was also drunk, and his wife was drunk in the other room, so although there was a lot of chaos going on, no one responded to the situation until the morning. Now, when you look at Mokotów, it would be impossible to believe that such a tragedy could take place there. Now, the Śródmieście district of Warsaw is the most dangerous, in fact, when it comes down to statistics. Rapes, murders, theft mostly take place here. And that's a surprising statistic when you consider how safe and lovely the area is to visit. Now, one evening here on Ulica Chłodna, an escort known as Barbara Z came to service a client. She asked her driver to wait for her. The driver became concerned because the escort was taking longer than usual with her services, so he alerted the authorities, who promptly came to the apartment to discover she had been strangled by a chain and chopped into little pieces. In the district of Wola, a woman by the name of Anna was engaged to a man named Krzysztof. They were around the age of 35. Anna came from a very sad family. Actually, all of her beloved ones had passed away, and her son was incarcerated in a correctional facility. The two fought like cats and dogs. The neighbors reported that it was a very, very pathological relationship, until one day the woman was discovered to have been beheaded in the villa apartment. Now, what's even more disturbing about this story is that it was a copycat case based off of the infamous Kajetan P, who also beheaded a woman here in Warsaw. Now, Praga is known as the most notoriously dangerous district in Warsaw. And as it is unsafe, when it comes down to the statistics, this is not actually the worst place. However, in the building behind me was probably one of the most gruesome murders on my list. On November 2nd, 2015, a woman by the name of Paulina and her two young children were brutally murdered. Paulina had her throat slit and she was discovered in a pool of her own blood. Her children had been suffocated. And what's maybe even more strange about this murder is the fact that the perpetrator was a woman, a colleague, a co-worker by the name of Magdalena. Now, Praga is in fact a beautiful district, but its reputation is that of poverty and dysfunctional families. In this location, there was great dysfunction as two women were stabbed in an attempted murder. Now, the neighbors heard the brawl, alerted the police, and thanks to that, one of the women actually were rescued and survived. So whereas Americans are certainly used to hearing stories about shootings, we're definitely not used to hearing stories about people being beheaded or strangled by a chain. And I think that that says a lot about a society that does not have guns. Murder is graphic and hands-on. But I'm curious about one thing. What do you think is the most dangerous place in Warsaw? Here where I'm standing in Praga, or maybe Śródmieście, as the statistics declare? Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Peace.